Chapter 7. How do I propose? By now, I was quite sure that Bhavna wasn't just a crush. I was definitely in love with her. But I felt trapped in a one sided affair again. Now, I was eager to break my age old hitch of one sided affairs. One sided affair is like a constructing a mansion over someone else's land. This time, it would be my land. It was our last day at Pioneer Computers. On my way, I wondered how to propose to her. Today is the last day, and from tomorrow, it's possible that I'll not get an opportunity to talk to her. Shall I propose to her directly or express my feelings indirectly? If she accepts, then everything will be just perfect. But in case she does not, maybe I'll lose my friendship with her. The spiral of thoughts continued. Shall I ask for her phone number? But again, how will she call me? I don't even have a cell phone. What a beggar I am. But Deependra has a cell phone. Will she be alright with calling me on Deependra's cell? Why is it so important to propose to anyone? Can't we be just friends? All these crazy thoughts raged like a storm inside my mind. Practicing to propose your love to a girl is like rehearsing to win a gold medal at the Olympics. After the class, in the parking lot, I walked up to her. How are you feeling about the coaching classes ending today, Bhavna? Not good, and I'm a bit scared. Her tone hid her nervousness. Scared? Why? I still don't have confidence in my programming skills, she replied quietly. I felt bad. I thought she would feel sad that we wouldn't have the chance to chat like this once the coaching classes ended. But her thought seems unrelated. I'm pretty confident about my programming skills, so you can discuss it with me anytime over the phone, I said, instead of asking for her number directly. She giggled and said, Sure, anytime. It sounded like my confidence in programming was a joke to her. BSNL was the market leader in those days, and the mobile market had not grown much. I was aware that Bhavna did not have a cell phone as well. She smiled. You can have my landline number, but I'm sorry, Ajay, you can't call. What is the use of having a weapon if you can't fire it? I said sarcastically. Look, Ajay, my parents have a problem if a guy calls, especially mummy, she signed. But why? You're studying with boys in a co educational institute and you have to interact with them during labs and projects, I argued, hiding my desperation. She hesitated a bit and said, If a boy calls, it means he is a friend, and tomorrow that friend could be a boyfriend, and then she shrugged. I was surprised at how casually she had said this, when it was what I was actually hoping would happen. Okay, Bhavna, I understand. If someone called my sister at my home, my parents would also feel the same way, I said, backing her up so that she would not feel bad. We would have preparation leave from college in 2 days. It would be followed by exams and then a 10-day semester break. This meant that I would meet my one sided love after 2 months and there would be no possibility of chatting on the phone either. My internal calculation increased my grief. Ajay, you look a bit sad today. What happened? She asked. It's because of Ragini. Now it's not possible to continue a relationship with her. She is going around with other guys in Bhopal, I said, hiding the real reason for my sadness. Ajay, if she is happy with someone else, let her be. Exams are coming up. I don't want my friend to be distracted because of someone who doesn't even care for him, she said. Bhavna, suppose I have doubts and I want to discuss them during our preparation leave. Is there any way that I can reach to you? She thought and said something that felt like mockery of me. Do you have a cell phone? A person for whom 80 rupees worth of gifts for his love seemed like $1 million deal, affording a cell phone was impossible. Ma'am, if I had that, I would have shared my number a long time back, I signed. But Deependra has a cell phone and he spends most of his time with me. She thought for a while. No, Ajay, I can't call Deependra. It won't look good if I call Deependra's number and ask for you. No, just call on his number. He won't pick up. Only I will answer your call. She looked suspiciously at me. Immediately, I realized the slip of tongue and corrected the mistake. See, have you ever called Deependra? No. Then I'll tell him. You are calling me to discuss something related to studies and to transfer that call to me. She didn't say anything, and I felt miserable again. Bhavna noticed this. She must have thought that I was sad because of Ragini. To cheer me up, she said, let's celebrate today as if it's farewell party for the coaching class. Celebrate? I said. Is she crazy or what? What do we have to celebrate here? Do you like Pani Puri? She asked cheerfully. I don't like Pani Puri much. I love Pani Puri. It's my favorite, I said, to indulge her. Perhaps I can replace Pani Puri with her name. Chappan Bhog has the best Pani Puri. It's near Civil Court in Kacheri, she suggested. Let's move then. You can find two kinds of shops in any corner of Allahabad, tea shops and Pani Puri stalls. But I don't know what was so special about Chappan Bhog. We started heading towards Kacheri Road. I was crawling along my cycle and she was driving her scooty beside me. What an idiot she is. She should have offered me a lift since I can't offer her on my bicycle. I tried to console myself. Please understand, Ajay, family values. A girl roaming around with a guy could become IRT gossip, and roaming in Allahabad at 7:30 p.m. is taboo. Just before we reached Chappanbog, Bhavna encountered another girl on scooty who stopped in front of her and said, Hi Bhavna, is this Pooja Di? I started getting goosebumps, but my body returned to normalcy after listening to their conversations. Hi Priya, long time, Bhavna replied. Now I understood why Bhavna had not offered me a lift. Priya stared at me. We exchanged a hello with fake smiles. My friend from engineering. I was going to Chappanbog and just met him on the way, Bhavna explained. Before her friend could fire any questions at her, Priya whispered something in Bhavna's ear. Both of them chuckled and then Priya left. Girls always laughed at their own poor jokes. At Chappanbog, Bhavna ordered 2 plates of pani puri. She seemed elated. Bhaiya, chutney also, she said to the man serving us the pani puri. How did this pani puri stuff excite her so much? What was Priya whispering? I asked, lost in my own agony. She put the pani puri in her mouth, making her face look completely round. She didn't say anything and waved her hand to signal that she would explain it later. That dish was her favorite and no one should disturb her. But my needle got stuck in Priya's fake smile. When the pani puri was gobbled up, I asked, So what did Priya say? Is she a good friend of yours? Instead of replying to my question, she smiled and asked, How was the pani puri? I hadn't even noticed its taste, but I was happy that she had enjoyed it. To delight her, I said the pani puri was awesome. I signed. What did Priya say? I reiterated and questioned like a parrot. She was my classmate at St. Mary's Convent and she whispered, Boyfriend? And I replied, No, just friend. It killed me. The whole world could guess my actions, but nothing seemed to be moving in my favor. I was about to say goodbye to Bhavna. Then she said, Ajay, whenever you feel there is a genuine reason to talk, just give me two short missed calls with a gap of 5 seconds from Deependra's cell phone and I'll call you back on his number. Why two? I asked excited. Why not one? After one missed call, it is Pooja Didi's who calls Jiju. She laughed. Would be Jiju? Yes, she nodded. That could have been the reason her mother resented boys. Mr. Would be Jiju was enjoying his first move advantage. But remember, Ajay, only you should answer my call, not Deependra. And she paused for a second and I broke into say, but what? There should be a genuine reason for the call, she said seriously. After boosting my luck, she had suddenly pressed the button of despair. I started pedaling my cycle towards the IERT hostel as Bhavna headed towards Allahpur. While parting, she shouted, all the very best for exams. Same to you and remember, never surrender, I said. Never surrender? What? She asked. Never surrender means never give up. One of my favorite lines. I don't know why I said so, but I had learned it while I was learning about World War II. Never surrender in a war. Maybe I had begun to treat love as a kind of war as well. Impressive line. She gave an expression of appreciation. Much required for exam preparations. A studious girl always takes things accordingly. I bid her bye for the day, and while moving, she said, Ajay, you deserve a better girl than Ragini. She smiled like a model in a close up ad. Her final words made my day. I said to myself, yes, the better one is you. Deependra's phone was like oxygen for me. The college was closed for exam preparation. Now that I would chat with Bhavna, it wasn't something I was concerned about because I had to focus on my first engineering exams. These exams were scary. We had not yet covered the syllabus and we could be asked questions from anywhere. Guessing exam questions was like searching for pearls in ocean. I was under twice the amount of pressure to perform. First, I had to do well to put my family out of its money crunch, and second, I had to win the heart of my love, who had stood first in the 10th and second in the 12th. Obviously, I found the second reason more motivating. During exams, after analyzing my answer sheet and looking at my Chinese handwriting, the idea of competing with Bhavna was crushed. Whenever I finished my paper before the allotted time, I never scrutinized it because the sight of my handwriting worried me. I realized a bit of truth. There was no way I was going to score more than Bhavna in the engineering exams. She used to call me the evening before the exam and inquire about my preparation. She would wish me luck, but whenever she called me, I was always ready with some doubts, so that the conversation lengthened for some more minutes. She was really concerned and helpful. She always took out sufficient time to explain. On the other hand, I never bothered to listen. I was only happy with the fact that she was talking to me. Once I said, Bhavna, you have been explaining the chapter for the last 15 minutes. Your phone bill will skyrocket. Not to worry, it's sponsored by UCO Bank, she said and laughed. The way she cared for me and called me before every exam was itself a proof that she liked me. But she was always concerned, sensitive, and emotional about everyone. I, I told you, she was a saint to everyone. On the last day of exam, I gave Bhavna my Rehan Nagar landline number because we had 10 days holidays. All my friends were excited to go home and I was the only jerk who was feeling low. At home in Rehan Nagar, I sat in front of my heavy old BSNL phone that rang so loudly that even the neighbors knew someone was calling Pandeji's house. But I didn't get any calls from her. Once the second semester started, Bhavna and I turned into hi and bye kind of friends. Again, we exchanged a hi in the morning while I kept staring at her like a peacock that was waiting for the rain and received a bye at the end of the day. She was always with Beena. Beena and Bhavna, both their names started with B, and that seemed to have drawn them closer still. They were in the same batch for every lab and every assignment. She didn't talk to me much because interactions between girls and boys turned into college gossip. Some gossip had already spread about the two of us, and that increased the distance between us. January 2004. I was in the hostel and I began to feel sad, missing the lovely days we had spent together at Pioneer Computers. I remembered all our past memories and cursed myself for not having the money to buy a phone. Then a shrewd idea struck me. The NTPC had a nice medical reimbursement policy. All expenses are covered in medicines and treatment are prescribed by registered doctors and if you have proof. I went to the small clinic outside the campus which had a small sign saying Indian Medical Association with a cross and a snake on it. I never understood why the Indian Medical Association had chosen such a sign. It was possible that they had treated people poisoned by a snake in the past. I explained the symptoms seriously. My mother was asthmatic and I knew the cost of the inhaler. Asthma inhalers are handheld portable devices that deliver medication to lungs. A flop mimicry actor inside me gave his best performance. I also told him that I would be traveling for the next few months and asked him to prescribe 3 inhalers. The doctor recommended 3 inhalers along with 5 strips of tablets and said you can discontinue these medicines after 5 days if you have recovered by then. Consultancy fees, sir? I asked. 100 rupees. Student discount, sir? I pleaded. He softened and charged me 50 rupees. I went straight to a medical shop and requested a shopkeeper to just make a bill. For how many days? The shopkeeper asked. I only want a bill for 15 days. Our cut is 10%, but for a student like you, we will take 5%. What is the final bill? 1650 rupees. Great, I said with a winning smile. It was definitely rare for someone to feel happy on seeing such a large medical bill. I called Papa and explained that I wasn't well and would courier the prescription with the bill to him. I felt bad, but imagining talking to Bhavna on the phone was enough to absolve me from the self guilt. The next morning, Papa transferred 3000 rupees into my SBI account. Parents always add a little extra in case of an emergency. I'd already saved about 1000 rupees. Finally, I was all set to enter the telecom world. It was time for the annual sports events for our institution. Bhavna and Beena participated in a badminton tournament. I went to her during the practice session. My father has gifted me this Nokia 3315 cell phone. I lied, showing her a bulky silver brick like device. She pressed a button on my cell phone and found only 2 numbers were saved. Only one was hers and the other was my home. She gave a doubtful look. We exchanged numbers and said bye. I returned to the hostel with high hopes. 5 days had passed. In spite of making a huge investment on the silver cell phone, she hadn't called even once. My fate remained unchanged. My hopes were dashed. I felt gloomy and felt like Bhavna was slipping away from me. I was infected by the Devdas syndrome, whose lover Paro was running away from him, and there was no scope another Chandramukhi as well. All my happiness vanished. I decided that I couldn't carry the burden of this one sided love anymore. I had to tell her, whether she accepted it or not. I considered, and since Valentine's Day was approaching, I decided to propose to her before that. I assigned a date to myself. It was the first week of February. I went to Bhavna in the parking lot. Bhavna and I were alone, facing each other. Since we hardly spoke now, I had missed her a lot. I felt like hugging her, but my thoughts were interrupted by her sweet voice. What happened, Ajay? You are not the same guy I knew. I'm not well, Bhavna. I'm suffering from viral fever. I lied again. No, Ajay, don't try to hide it. I've noticed over the last few days you aren't being the jolly and cheerful person you used to be, she said. I felt a bit happy. At least she had been paying attention to me. Then I executed my plan. I lied to Bhavna. I lied to you, Bhavna. Actually, I've planned to leave IERT forever. Forever? Why? What happened? She asked. I'm getting admission into DAVV Indore. I'll be joining the second semester directly through some links my father has. It's a better college with regards to replacement than IERT. I lied to Bhavna to observe her reaction. If she loved me, she would definitely feel bad about my decision. I had chosen DAVV Indore because one of my friends was studying there and I knew even the smallest detail about it. I was observing her carefully to see whether she was sad about the news of my sudden departure. But the girl, who was an angel for everyone, sometimes behaved like a demon to me. Ajay, parents are always concerned about their children. If they are making you to do something, then you should listen to them. I held my head and thought, why had I fallen for such a good girl? A few more days went by. I was filled with confusion about whether she loved me or not. It felt like there was a group discussion inside my head all the time. A part of my brain said that she loved me like a friend and would accept my love once I told her about it. Another part countered that she had never loved me and that she was just an emotional girl who cared about everyone. My mind was being destroyed by the war between these positive and negative thoughts. My health, my studies, and my head were beginning to get affected. I always lay on my bed and kept an eye on my heavy silver Nokia handset, waiting for it to ring. It was almost like a virgin girl hoping to get pregnant. I decided to put an end to all of it. It was better to die with clarity rather than live with fake hopes on a ventilator. On 7th February, in the common room of the boys' hostel, I was flipping through the newspaper and came across some interesting news. An international festival called Valentine's Week was about to start. The newspaper had printed an entire love calendar. It was to begin with the Rose Day, followed by the Propose Day, Chocolate Day, Teddy Day, Promise Day, Kiss Day, Hug Day, and finally the day or Valentine's Day. It had been perfectly scheduled from the 7th to 14th of February. So, in accordance with the paper, I would have to propose to her the next day or the 8th of February, but another newspaper revealed some new information. Its post Valentine's love calendar stated that 15th February was Slap Day, 16th February was Kiss Day, 17th February was Perfume Day, 18th February was Flirting Day, 19th February was Confession Day, 20th February was Missing Each Other Day, and 21st of February was Breakup Day. I fail to understand the reason for this order, but the last day was an eye opener. Breakup day. Even marketing executives felt that love lasted only 2 weeks. I dumped those newspapers and decided to follow my own destiny. A new idea popped into my cunning mind. I would write a letter to Bhavna with all my feelings for her. I had written 2 pages in my Chinese handwriting, but another positive part of my mind came up with another idea. You care for her? She should realize that. Giving her love letter could also create confusion about whether they were written by you or not. I dropped this plan as well and shouted to God, how do I propose? Chapter 8. Love You Bhavna. 13th February 2004, the day before Valentine's Day. I decided to propose to Bhavna on 13th February. It was a deliberate choice to propose to her before the day, knowing that girls need some time to think about things. There was a huge chance that she would fall into the trap of wanting to celebrate Valentine's Day, which would lead her to accept my proposal. It was madness to accept such a thing from a girl like her, but love is not only blind, it's dumb too. I didn't go to college on the 13th. I was caught up in my own crazy preparations. I collected some of Bhavna's things like her freshers party performance photographs, some of her notes, a photocopy that she had given to me, and even rough sheets that she had used to explain C programming to me. At around 6 in the evening, when I was just going to execute my plan, my phone vibrated. Someone was calling me from a landline. Hi Ajay, Bhavna here. Her call was like a drizzle in Jaisalmer. Hi, I replied. Ajay, tomorrow is my badminton match and Gaurav is my partner in the mixed doubles. Can you give him a message and tell him to reach college soon? Tell him to be at the auditorium for practice at around 4 p.m. tomorrow, she said quickly, trying to finish the call with 60 seconds. Okay, sure. Where are you calling from? A PCO booth near Prayag railway station. I asked for the exact location. Prayag station was close to IERT and I knew every place around it. Bhavna, please be there. I'm coming to meet you. It's urgent. Ajay, I'm getting late. Can we talk tomorrow? Bhavna, it's my last day at IERT. Tomorrow I'm leaving for DAVV Indore forever, remember? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm waiting. Come soon. Listen, Bhavna, I want to meet you alone, I said hastily, but still could not match up with the telecom frequency. It echoed with the dirty tun tun sound. She had hung up the phone. I took all her stuff and started pedaling my cycle to take the bravest step of my life. On my way, I started collecting my thoughts and practicing what I had to say. I kept talking to myself, never surrender Ajay, you can. I reached the PCO after 10-minute ride. My jaw dropped when I saw Beena standing with Bhavna. I didn't even say hi to either of them and just stared at Beena. She was really perspective. After seeing my dismay, she bid goodbye to Bhavna and left. Maybe my pale face conveyed my feelings to her. Now Bhavna and I were alone. What happened, Ajay? Why did you want to see me all of a sudden? Bhavna, can we sit somewhere for some time? It's urgent. I'm leaving tomorrow and I want to tell you something, I requested. Where shall we sit, Ajay? She questioned. At Chappan Bhog or any restaurant near Netram Chauraha? No, Ajay. I'm in my college uniform and it's late now. We can discuss it here at the side of the road, she said, looking this way and that. We walked next to Allahabad University Women's Hostel. It was close to Prayag station. Many other lovers were also standing there, and this made us feel quite comfortable. Bhavna, I'm leaving for goodbye the Shipra Express tomorrow. All the best for your future, Ajay. And don't get disheartened because of Ragini, she said, but I could not focus on her words. I was up with my record player. I have gathered some stuff, Bhavna. Before leaving, I wanted to return all your things, I said and handed all her stuff to her. You kept all these things, she replied quietly. My lip stiffened. I handed her the snaps that were clicked during the freshers' party. Where did you manage to get all these? She inquired. I remained silent. You can keep all these things. I'm perfectly fine with that. My heart started beating faster and I felt choked up. I was sweating in February. Just coming, Bhavna, I said and went to the nearby tea stall. I gulped down some water and returned feeling like a warrior. Maybe Bhavna had understood by now. I asked nervously, Bhavna, I want to say something. Okay, she said fearfully. I summoned my courage and still staring at ground, mumbled, I love you, Bhavna. Come again? I love you, Bhavna. I said with some nervousness, but this time looking straight at my darling's face. She was definitely not happy to see my eyes wet. She went silent. Maybe she was still trying to digest the sudden admission of love. Ajay, you are a good friend, but I never thought of you in this way, she said, trying to console me. Give me some time to answer. But don't be sad. You are a nice person, but I've never been in such a relationship before. Then I realized the blunder I'd made. How could a girl accept a proposal when I still had a girlfriend? And tomorrow, this lover boy was leaving college forever. I decided to correct the blunder. Bhavna, I have to tell you something about Ragini. What, Ajay? She responded softly, so that I felt comfortable enough to share everything. I don't have an affair with Ragini. What? She was aghast. Then what's up with all those stories and photographs? Made it up so that you wouldn't keep yourself away from me. A person who is already in a relationship is surely considered safe. I signed. Difficult to believe. Everyone knows about Ragini. Even Deependra has shared things about her many times, she said confused. Ragini was one of my good friends at school, nothing more. Bhavna, if you want, you can talk to her. She would love to talk to you. Does Ragini know about me? Yes. On my visit to Rehan Nagar during the Diwali break, we talked about you. I dialed Ragini's number and made Bhavna talk to her. Hi Ragini, Ajay here. Hi Ajay, how are you? And your story with Bhavna, she asked. Ragini, I'm with her now. She wants to talk to you, I said and gave the phone to Bhavna. What if Bhavna told Ragini those secrets that I had wanted to tell her during my school days but never had the courage to? It was a dangerous situation. My ex crush was talking with my love to be a rare moment in my life. Hi Ragini. Bhavna, I've heard a lot about you. What's up? Ragini, you and Ajay were never in a serious relationship? Bhavna asked hesitantly. No, Bhavna, we are just good friends, Ragini answered. The call ended after a few seconds of formal conversation, but Bhavna's actions had made me firmly believe that she also had feelings for me. Ajay, it's getting late. I have to go home. I need some time to think about all this. Bhavna, one last revelation for you, I said. I regained all my confidence and recovered from my sadness. Now what, Ajay? Enough for the day, I think. I signed, Bhavna, I'm not going anywhere. I'll complete my degree in IRT. Why did you lie then? Sorry, but this was the only way to get you here. So that we could talk. We'll talk to you later, she said and left. I kept standing there until my girl vanished into the darkness of the night. I started pedaling my Dreamliner cycle towards my hostel. Another war of thoughts began in my mind. The positive part of me that said Bhavna loved me, else she wouldn't have confirmed my relationship with Ragini. But the negative part of me said that Bhavna didn't love me, as she had left without accepting the proposal. Somehow, I felt the positive part winning. I felt relieved, like a huge burden had been suddenly removed from my head.